Hi everyone, my name is Kimberly Mortensen and I am a family nurse practitioner and I have been in the medical field now for about 25 years. The last 11 years I have been working in a pediatric clinic, and on a daily basis I have parents ask me, how can I keep my kids healthier? I feel like they're getting sick all the time. And so I have created this video to help with hopefully some helpful tools that and some good reminders of just what things that we can do to help our kids with their immune systems and help prevent them from getting sick and just help create an environment where they feel good. Um, in our nation, obesity is on the rise. Over the last 3 decades, obesity in children has continued to go up. Um, Also, mental health disorders are on the rise, with especially in our teenagers. Things like depression and anxiety and ADD have gone up over the last decade. Also, conditions like autoimmune conditions like type 1 diabetes, inflammatory bowel disease, lupus, celiac, and Crohn's disease, those autoimmune conditions are on the rise too. Why is that happening? Why are our kids getting sicker? And a lot of that has to do with the environment and the things that we're putting into our body. So there's a couple things I want to go through, but first of all, I just want to start with some healthy habits that we can teach our children to hopefully help prevent them from getting sick and also keeping their immune system strong. The first thing and the most important thing that we can teach our kids to help prevent spreading germs is to wash our hands. The tell that we tell our kids, go ahead and wash your hands and sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, that's the right thing to be telling our kids. You want to make sure that you're washing your hands before you eat meals, after you go to the bathroom, and always a good reminder when you're playing with pets to wash your hands afterwards. Also, it's really important that we teach our kids that when they sneeze or cough or blow their nose, it's important to wash their hands. Little kids and big kids, and sometimes even adults, need these reminders, but those reminders will pay off, I promise you, in your household if you can get into these good, healthy habits. Other healthy habits: make sure when your kids are sick, you change their toothbrush out. Um, Things like strep throat can be treated, and that bacteria can resign in the toothbrush. But with viruses, actually viruses can jump from toothbrush to toothbrush. So that's how a lot of times infections are spread in your home. So if someone gets sick, make sure you change their toothbrush out. Also, you want to make sure to teach your kids not to touch their face, not to touch their eyes, not to touch their mouth with their hands, because that increases your risk of infection. We all carry bacteria under our fingernails, which when we put them into our mouth or put them into our eye, that is how we get infections. Also, teach your children not to share cups or utensils. When we stop sharing those things, infections in the household go down. One thing that I always tell my parents, don't have antibacterial soaps in your home. That's not necessary. Antibacterial soaps are great for superbugs, and they're really great to have in places that are very, very busy and crowded, like hospitals, daycares, schools, places like that. Antibacterial soaps are needed. But in our household, we don't need to be washing all of the good and the bad bacteria off, because everyone needs that good bacteria on their body. That's what helps build our immune system and helps us from getting sick. So just make sure that you have just regular soap and water at your home and that you're teaching good, healthy habits so that we can decrease the risk of spreading germs through hand washing. That is the number one way that you spread germs. As a good reminder, parents, this is super important that you keep your kids home when they are sick. I always tell parents that if your child has had a fever, keep them home for at least 24 to 48 hours after the fever breaks. If they've had diarrhea and vomiting, they need to be home 48 to 72 hours after that stops. Because even though you think they're doing better, they're still shedding the viruses and they can spread that to others. And not only can they spread that to others, but when we put our kids in an environment that their immune system is already down because they're sick, and you send them to school, that increases their risk of them getting a secondary infection. So not only will you help prevent your kids from getting sick, but you're also going to help, or getting others sick, but you're also going to help your kids prevent them from getting sicker or getting a secondary infection. Keep them home, push lots of fluids, push vitamin C, give them some TLC, give them lots of love. In a few days, they're going to do better, and you're going to actually help their immune system by just keeping them home. Diet nutrition really is the bedrock of health. This is one thing that I really, really stress, that you go through and see what your kids are eating. Nutrition is the best medicine. Our kids are not eating the right amounts of fruits and vegetables, and they're not eating the right amounts of protein and good fats and complex carbohydrates. A high sugary diet, so if your kids are drinking a lot of juice, a lot of soda, if they have a lot of processed foods and sugary cereals and things like that, if they're taking those things in their diet, they are actually decreasing their immune system, because sugar increases inflammation in our bodies. So when you increase inflammation in the body, our immune system goes down. So I really stress going through and making sure that you have a good, healthy diet that's going to be low in sugar so that we can keep our immune system high. I really stress the importance of sending your kids out with a good breakfast. Not a high sugary breakfast, one that has good fats, good proteins, and complex carbohydrates. Studies show that when kids go to school and they haven't had breakfast, or they've had a high sugary breakfast, their blood sugar does not regulate properly, and they have highs and lows. Their energy levels aren't sustained, they can't concentrate, and they do poorer in school. So sending them out with a breakfast is essential for a good day of learning. Another thing that a lot of kids lack in is sleep. Sleep is so important. Sleep is what allows our bodies to heal. When we get into the deep REM sleep, we repair our body and heal our body. So if our kids are sleep deprived, they're not healing their bodies, that's going to decrease their immune system and increase their risk of getting infection. So insist on a good night's rest with your children. Get them into a good, healthy habit, doing things like warm baths, meditation, reading, soft music, things like that that can kind of wind them down before they go to bed. The worst thing that we can do, and a majority of kids do, is have electronics in their rooms. I would really recommend, and I tell parents daily, to take away those electronics, things like cell phones, iPads, video games, anything that's going to be distraction is going to stimulate their brain and not allow them to get into sleep. I've read some studies where they did a study on 2,000 children, and it was in 2015, and the kids that had electronics in their room did not have as good a sleep, and they did poorer in school. So get those things out of their room. Make sure that you remove that an hour before they go to bed, because their brain has to wind down. It has to stop, on the crazy overload that our electronics really put our brain in. So you want to remove those electronics from their room. Also, it is so important that kids get exercise every single day, at least 5 days a week. And parents, if you're not exercising, I would encourage you to be the example and start this with them. Even when it's cold, you can get outside, bundle them up as long as the air quality is good, and get out and move your bodies. I encourage 30 to 45 minutes of a good sweat every single day. This is so important. We release endorphins when we work out. It makes us feel better. It actually decreases anxiety and depression, and it really is overall so important for our bodies. With that increase of obesity on the rise, we want to make sure that we are counteracting that by exercising and teaching our kids good, healthy habits of making sure they're moving their body every single day. There are some ways that you can boost your immune system. Like I said, you can nutrition is the most important thing. Making sure you have a good diet, making sure your kids are drinking enough water. There are kids that don't touch water in a day, and I want to make sure that your kids are drinking enough water. Also, when our kids think they're hungry, have them drink water first, because most of the time we're not hungry, we're bored. I know I've been guilty of boredom eating, and that's something that drinking water can help them feel fuller so that they're not snacking as much. Um, there are ways that you can boost your immune system naturally. And some of the things that I tell parents, getting kids on a good multivitamin is very, very important. Making sure they have enough vitamin D in their diet. Vitamin D has been linked to depression, anxiety, and just overall not feeling good. And a lot of people are deficient in vitamin D. So make sure they're getting enough vitamin D in their diet. Also, vitamin C is really important. And that's why we want to really push. Uh, oh my gosh, sorry. We want to push vegetables, and we want to push fruits. Had a brain fart there for a second. That's where they're going to get the most vitamin C in a natural form. So making sure they get their 5 servings is so important. You can also do elderberry, which is a natural, more homeopathic immune booster. And then, like I said, getting kids on a probiotic and a multivitamin is so important. I actually have for 25 years told my patients to be on a probiotic. I really know how important gut health is. 80% of our immune system is in our gut. 80% of our serotonin, which is our happy hormone, is in our gut. So if you're struggling with depression and anxiety, you want to make sure you have good gut health. If you're getting sick often, you want to make sure you're putting good bacteria in your stomach, in your gut. And then also 80% of your melatonin is in your gut. So if you're not sleeping well, we better check our gut health. Plexus does have an amazing multivitamin and probiotic that is a 2-in-1 that is awesome for our kids. It has 13 essential vitamins, and they're derived in the most bioavailable form. So that means your kids are going to absorb these vitamins, which is really, really awesome, and absorb this probiotic. Probiotics are that good bacteria that we need to put into our tummy because we eat processed foods, because kids go on antibiotics, because they have medications, because we eat high sugary diets. We want to be able to counteract that and put good things into our body. And so probiotics are one of the ways that we can increase our immune system, and it's going to help shield other invading bad bacteria because the good bacteria can overtake that. So I love the probiotic multivitamin that X Factor, it's called X Factor Kids, that Plexus does. It supports a healthy growth and development in our children. It supports healthy brain development. It's going to help increase our immune system. It's going to help with digestive health. It's going to help with overall eye health. And it's going to help with strong teeth too. It's gluten-free, it's 100% vegetarian, it's non-GMO, no artificial flavors, no artificial coloring, and in most vitamins you're going to get a high amount of sugar, and this is not full of sugar. So this is the one that I recommend my patients take because it is so, it absorbs so readily, and it is really probably the best multivitamin out there, and it's a 2-in-1, so you're getting that probiotic so that you're just quickly giving it to your kids, not wasting time, boosting their immune system, and keeping them healthy. Hopefully you've got some good tips and maybe some good reminders on how we can keep our kids healthy through this sick season. I hope you guys have an amazing day.